Ore enchan nasha taata naa kesha, ore embulunoto ai, ore apa olari otii oriong' elde nesha enchan neitu adol naa kaata ilarin kumok oleng, nesha enchan naing'asiakino. Ore irng'atuny obo, ore enakop neeku enkare neeku meekure elio entim nerisiore.
Kenya is already beginning to experience weather unpredictability. We've just had a long drought and then we had a flood immediately after, and that's beginning to affect crop farmers and pastoralists. Kenya has done well in terms of with the policy in place, we have laws in place, national climate change among the first countries, the institutional framework in place. So we have a national council, we have a director of climate change, and every ministry actually has now a climate change unit so that it is across government. Our county governments, a number of them already have developed climate change departments, and they have done acts of climate change fund.
The National Climate Change Action Plan is embedded in our Climate Change Act, so it's a legal requirement and the tool with which Kenya is going to use to implement climate change actions or intervention that will let it move towards a low carbon climate resilient development.
In terms of mitigation, the government has set itself a very ambitious target of trying to reach our forest cover, which at the moment stands at 7.2%, to reach 10% cover by the year 2022, although our constitution actually says by 2030. Our energy sector is doing very well. We have gone more geothermal. We have also one of the biggest wind power. So our source of energy as a country now is more and more green.
We are working closely with representatives from various sectors to get the actual priority areas for the sector and interventions that can be put in place in order to help us respond to the impact of climate change. We also worked closely with civil society organizations that work with the youth on climate change activities across the country, and they're able to mobilize for us the youth, and through this consultative process we're able to get interventions for the youth that we're able to incorporate in the action plan.
I was watching TV, then I asked my mom if we could plant a tree. So we went outside, we dug a hole, then we got a tree from someone, and then we planted it. Now it's an orange tree.
We are also in the process of constituting a joint working group for development partners so that we are able to have a regular meeting to help us with monitoring and compliance of how we are progressing with the implementation of the plan through the help of various partners that we are already working with. For example, the NDC partnership will be able to identify resource gaps.
Kenya set itself the target of becoming a newly industrializing middle-income country by 2030. And I think from a climate perspective, the interesting discussion that we need to have is how can Kenya reach that target in a low carbon and climate resilient manner. The partnership can really help in facilitating development partners to cooperate with the government of Kenya on implementation of the plan and to make sure that development partner coordination is not just us meeting and talking about what we do, but to really streamline and align our current and especially planned funding with the priorities that the Kenyan government has.
We've been quite active. Plastic waste, a big area, timber and the forests have been a big area for us. So we've been able to use that baseline for those many years to support the current plan and say this is a baseline, this is what we've achieved so far. So that is what we are supporting to feed into the action plan.
The main area that we think we must focus on is in adaptation, because even if the whole of Africa remove their contribution to the global warming is very little, but yet we'll be the ones receiving the highest impact. So it's to increase our adaptive capacity is the major area. Overall, we are set as a country to follow through the action plan and also meet our national determined contribution. I think the climate change target cannot be missed because it will happen. And it might be too late by that time. And therefore, why Kenya has taken this very seriously. At least we'll do our bit. It's not something, even if the whole of Africa did their bit, it has to be the whole doing their bit.